Good afternoon. This is Rachel with Infused Meadow again, and I thought I'd bring you along while I make roast. Now, my recipe is probably not going to be like anybody else's, and I'm okay with that because I absolutely love it, and I think it's delicious. So what you want to do is start with some water. Now, I'm using distilled water. Actually, it's reverse osmosis water due to our machine. Now, I have a small roast, and you only want enough liquid in here to just cover that roast, okay? So, that's what I've got. Alright, to start, I showed you all how to make homemade onion soup mix from scratch, okay? This is what, I mostly make this for this right here. It's just what I prefer. So if you make this, you want to go in with 3 tablespoons of your onion soup mix. And 3 heaping tablespoons. And then what you're going to do is whisk this in. And we're going to give this a little look only because, okay, so if you're in the U.S., you can buy the bags of Lipton onion soup mix from the store. Now, if you want to know what's in your onion soup mix, I do have a video showing you how to make this at home from scratch with all ingredients that you know what they are. And what I'm looking for is a dark broth, okay? So if you're in the U.S. and you buy those pouches, it's like 1 pouch, which is roughly 3 tablespoons, goes into, I believe it's 3 cups of liquid. And so I have at least double that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add more. And that's why I can't tell you exactly what you're going to need, because it's really going to depend on how much liquid you put into your crock pot. And yes, I see I dropped that. Don't worry. I will get that when I'm done. Clean that up. Alright. So, we're going to whisk this in. And it already smells lovely. And this will give you that deeper beef flavor. Okay, and that's just some of the onions. It's fine. 1 second. Alright, now I have cut the ends off of 3 cloves of garlic, so I'm going to drop those right in here. Now, you're going to notice black label number 7. Alright, I've told you all before, I have issues with alcohol. However, that's isopropyl alcohol. That's not what this is. And I'm not drinking it. I'm using it for my roast. I personally find that a nice dark whiskey does very well with red meat. It helps tenderize it, and it also helps to help that meat to basically fall apart. So what I do is I free pour roughly 1/4 of a cup. I never use more than that. I don't want anybody, you know, the alcohol will cook off, because I'm going to go ahead and turn this on as a matter of fact. I'm putting this on high, and what else? I'm going to go ahead and drop my roast in. As you can see, I have a nice small roast, and that's going to go right in there. And I do vacuum seal. I vacuum seal pretty much everything. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, so I've told you all in other videos that I dehydrate a lot of things. I can a lot of things. I freeze a lot of things. So, to this, now if you have fresh, you will not add them at this point in time. But I have some of my dehydrated mushrooms. I have a lot more than this, but this is what I've got in the kitchen for right now. And because they are dehydrated, I'm going to add roughly the equivalent to about 1/2 cup of mushrooms, if you're doing fresh. And I'm going to go ahead and empty that. There we go. And then what I also have is, because they're dehydrated, that's why I'm adding them at this point in time. I have my dehydrated carrots. Yes, this is all dehydrated carrots. Now, I do mine in a few ways, but I've been on a kick lately of just taking them across my grater to get like a smaller consistency, if you can see that. But now, as these rehydrate, they will bloom back up. So I'm adding these now because, like I said, they are dehydrated. This is going to cook for around 4.5 hours. So I'm adding the equivalent to about 3 large carrots. And then in an hour, and I can bring you back at that point, but in an hour, I'm going to add in some potatoes. And that's because they'll be fresh. And even in a slow cooker, they still need more than they do on the stovetop. And this is going to be a 1-pot meal for us. We'll have our carrots, we'll have the roast, and we'll have potatoes and some mushrooms in here. And this is really all you need, in my opinion. So, this is what we got going now. Yes, I'm going to pause this. My phone is charging, so it's okay. And I will be back. Now, hopefully all goes well and it doesn't decide to try to end the video, at which point we will be back in an hour. All right, see you then. So it's been an hour, and I've gone in and grabbed some of the smaller potatoes that I harvested last year from the garden. Now, it's not a whole lot. That's just a small bowl. But anyway, so I'm going to leave these whole. I've already scrubbed them clean, and all I'm going to do, so for these that are like this size, I will actually cut that at least into 3s. And then I'll just put these in here. And after that, all I'm going to do is continue to let this cook. So I will try to let the video continue going. As long as the phone doesn't act up or, any kind of phone calls kicks it out. Then it should be fine to continue going. So that way you can at least see it when it's ready and done. As you can see, everything has rehydrated nicely, which means that it will cook beautifully with the potatoes, and they should all be done at the exact same time. Actually, they will be. That's why we cook them for so long. All right, so I'm going to get all these in here, and we will be back. Okay, so I've gotten my potatoes in, and if you are like me and you've scrubbed some potatoes really, really well, and you didn't use them all, so like I've got 4 that were, slightly a medium, and or not medium, they're like a medium small maybe at best. They're just small. Anyway, once you've washed your potatoes, that kind of exposes them. So what you'll want to do is dry them off completely and then put them somewhere in your kitchen close by so that you use them within a couple of days. I'm also going to go ahead and add some black pepper. Maybe about 1/2 teaspoon. And that's it. I'm going to let this continue to cook. And like I said, we'll be back in a few hours. Okay, 4.5 hours has gone by, and I've just pulled this, cut it, and put it in the plates. I know, lighting is terrible. I do apologize. Hopefully you can see both plates. And there you go. Easy peasy. And this will actually... You can take your fork and peel it apart if that's what you want to do. I just generally, because this is so small, I just cut it in half. And there you go. There's dinner. Anything that's left over will go in the refrigerator. And then I can shred that meat and turn that into a stew if I want to. So, I hope this helps anyone that's curious. I know that there's a lot of, I'm sure that there's a lot of recipes out there for roast. I've seen some myself and been like, And then I've seen some where I've been like, yeah, maybe one day I'll try that. But until that day, I stick with what I like. Now, you saw that the carrots are shredded. That I do that for the dehydrator because they dehydrate so much faster than they do if I do them in rings. But sometimes I will do them in rings. It's just this is my preferred way. And they will still eat regardless of being shredded. You can always taste this before you pull it. And that way you'll know, like the last hour, just taste your broth. And that will tell you if you need... to add salt. You shouldn't, but in the event you do. Also, depending on the size of your roast, 4.5 hours may not be enough. So if you're doing like a large 3 to a 5 pound roast, you're probably going to need anywhere between 6 to 7 hours of cooking to get it to where you want it. All right. So anyway, I hope that this helps in some way, shape, or form. And I hope you make this. I hope you love it, if not like it. And if not, then hey, I hope you find the recipe that's right for you out there somewhere. And as always, I hope you have yourself a very wonderful day.